What is your why the heck did I do that moment? Once I didn't feel like I could keep going with my job. I didn't feel comfortable there. I said duck this and yelled at my manager. Thing is, I needed the job. Family was going through a rough time. Next day I showed up and my manager ringed me up. He told me he understood my frustration and recommended meditation. Told me not to lash out on him again like that. I still left a few months later. But I still feel mad respect for the guy after that. I told my professor that I had a doctor's appointment and that I had to miss class. He wouldn't excuse it, and I showed up to class 8 minutes late. It seemed like I had lied. My daughter, who was 5 at the time, went into my wife and I's bathroom and managed to lock herself in. The lock on the door is weird and problematic. She couldn't get out, so I had to call a locksmith. It took him a solid 2 hours to get her out of there. He finally gets it open, but at this point we're late for our dinner reservation with my wife's family. So we agree he'll come by later in the week to fix the lock. He tells me very clearly, don't shut this door until I fix it. If you do, this will happen again. I'm sure you can all guess where this is headed. And you're right. The next day, home alone, I walk in there to take a leak and reflexively shut the door behind me. I spent about half an hour trying to get out before I finally called the locksmith. That convo went like this. Hey, it's Deacon Frosted Flakes. You were over at my place yesterday. Oh yeah? Yeah, I remember. You're calling to schedule the follow-up. Quote, well actually, it happened again. I'm stuck in the bathroom right now. 5-second pause. Are you serious? Quote, guy was a real professional. Never before or since have I heard such polite astonishment packed into a 3-word question. He came over again, but obviously he had to charge us for it. Possibly the most expensive way I've ever embarrassed myself. At a party in college and a girl asked if I wanted to see her hamster. I was a little drunk and love animals, so I said yes. We went into her room. She closed the door, and I actually started playing with her hamster, told her thanks, and walked back into the party. Didn't realize how much of a dumbass I was until my friends pointed it out. When I was 3, my mom bent down to kiss my forehead and I jumped a little. She got a bloody lip and a lifelong aversion to showing me affection. Why the duck did I do that? I swear, like a lot. Like all the ducking time. When my niece was younger, this became a bit of a problem, monsieur. On her 6th birthday, she had a slumber party with a few of her little friends and I was helping my sister watch over the kiddos, run the birthday activities and games. When the little ones were busy eating their cake and ice cream, we sat a little off to the side of the kids and my sister and I started gossiping about an in-law that we absolutely despise. In hushed tones, my sister told me the latest spit this in-law had pulled. It was some especially ducked up spit, and before I could help myself, I loudly began, what a... I was of course gonna say bitch, but in my anger, surprise, I started the statement too loudly and mid-sentence noticed about 5 sets of little baby eyes on me. My brain scrambled in panic for a suitable replacement for the word bitch, and being the infinite genius I am, my mind found the perfect substitution and my mouth made sure to say it much louder than necessary. This is how I pretty much yelled the word cunt at a group of little children at a little girl's birthday party. I'm a recovering heroin addict who did a small stint in prison. Where do you want me to start? Side note, about 5.5 years clean and off parole. Doing well in life now. Just many years of thinking about this question. My boyfriend left his phone at my apartment, so I texted him to let him know. Superglued my feet into my shoes. Painful recovery process of trying to rip them off of my feet. Dropped something into a deep fryer that was at cooking temperature, and then proceeded to reach in and grab it. Definitely not my brightest moment. I tried to pet a porcupine once and you can guess the rest. Deleted. Screamed. Not too loud. Not too low. In my classroom. When we were doing a test. I still don't know why I did that. Just felt like it. It was mine and my boyfriend's first time. He asked if I could feel it. I said, "Si senor," instead of yes. Edit. Thank you guys for 50 upvotes for my funny embarrassing story. Well, I mistakenly added salt to flour when making pancakes this morning. Instead of throwing it all out and starting over, I tried to save it by adding double the sugar. It was spit. You don't have to stick with mistakes. I ate dog food on stage. I almost vomited in front of 30+ people. I thought it would be funny for the scene. It was just not for me. Getting ready for bed after a really long day. I was sitting on the toilet seat, flossing my teeth with my eyes drooping, and I leaned over and spit on the floor by my feet. Good thing I was home alone because I laughed like a maniac for a while after that. Riding my bike and there was a parked car blocking the sidewalk. So I went around it and crashed into a stop sign instead. A true bro moment. Waiter, enjoy your food guys. I'll be over there if you need me. Me? Thanks, you too. Just after college, I was interviewed for a managerial position at a music store that sold records, CDs, and DVDs. First interview question. Asterisk. So, do you listen to a lot of music? Asterisk me. Immediately. Without even hesitating. Asterisk. Not really. Asterisk. I did not get the job. When I was 5, I was building a Lego set while eating a lollipop. I had a Lego brick in one hand and the lollipop in another. And without even thinking about it, put the Lego brick in my mouth. I had already swallowed it whole before my brain started working again and I realized what I had done. I kinda have more of these moments than I'd like to. Number 1. Attempted to fix a broken wall plug while being drunk, ended up with me getting electroshocked. I was fortunately wearing Crocs and did not die or something like that. Number 2. Jumped in a swimming pool naked at midnight in like 0 degrees Celsius. Number 3. I was freezing so I laid my hand on a stove and left it there for like 4 seconds. Getting terribly burned. I had a blister for 2 weeks after that. Number 4. Falling asleep with a pack of freeze butter beans in my hand and waking up with them all over the bed. Yes. It all was on the same day. Yes. I was completely drunk. Was cleaning up the floor lamp display in IKEA when I came across one without a shade or bulb in it. For reasons known only to God, I put my finger in it. It was still plugged in. It hurt. Went for my break after that to try and figure out why I'd just done it. Still don't know to this day why. 13 different types of alcohol in a matter of 3 hours. I was 21. Had alcohol poisoning for 2 days. Surprised I didn't die. I once messaged a cute guy on OkCupid. Hey, you seem like a cool cat. I immediately regretted saying something so stupid. But we've been together 7.5 years. So I guess it was the right move. I don't even have moments, it's just how I live. Guy begs me for some money. Tell him no. Tell him that if he finds me some drugs he'll give him some. He tells me to give him money and he will go get some. I give him money. Guy leaves to get drugs, or so I thought. 5 minutes later I realize I just gave the guy money. I left and never told anyone. I made plans with my sister to meet up for lunch and drinks at a restaurant in her neighborhood. I proceed to take an Uber to a different restaurant on the other side of the neighborhood. One time I was driving and I hit a tree. Not on the side of the road, but in the middle. It was a clear, regular day. I could see the fallen tree from a distance. I definitely didn't want to hit the tree. I'm still not sure how or why I did that. In high school a few of us ate a bunch of mushrooms. It was daytime and we were in the woods. There was a large tree that had fallen over a small creek. The tree formed an arch, and I thought it would be a good idea to try to walk over the tree and cross the small creek. Well, as I got halfway across, I felt the mushrooms really start to kick in. I thought, what a bad idea this was, and the tree snapped as I got to the halfway point. I fell into the creek, tripping my face off. When I was a kid, I used to love hiking. However, nobody ever wanted to go with me, so I would just go alone. One time at about 4:30, I decided to go on a hike to a mountain. About a 2 hours round walk. Some of the walk to get there was by houses. When I finally got to the top of the mountain, I realized it was already almost dark, and I had taken a much longer time than I expected. I almost knew this would happen, but I did this anyway. So I had to walk home in the dark. I decided to go home a way which fitted through a small wash in between houses. These houses were different and looked older, and none of them even had their lights on. As I was walking, I walked by a house where a dog in the backyard that barked at me. Normal. After I got about 50 yards past that dog, the dog started barking again. This was weird. Why would the dog do that? I eventually walked back towards the house to see why it was barking into a bush outside the fence, which was rustling, but the top branches were also rustling, so it was not a short animal. I connected the dots and believed the dog was barking at a human in that bush. I ran home in the dark. For the first 10 yards, I was sure I heard leaves crunching behind me, and didn't really talk about that. I still sometimes think about that every now and then. Why did I take that path home through that creepy wash, and was the dog actually barking at a human? And why did I go back to see what it was? And why did I go hiking when I knew it would get dark? As a kid, I never went by those houses again. One time in 6th grade, my friend and I were talking in the hallway on our way to class. She was telling me a story about something that upset her, and so I looked at her and leaned in to kiss her on the cheek. I stopped midway when we made eye contact, closes ducked to her face, and said something and walked away. To this day, I have no idea why I went to kiss her cheek, but I think I just wanted to comfort her. Procrastinating on 19,272,719,936,371,810 plus assignments in high school. Basement flooded. 4 feet of water. A humidifier, ironic, was on, plugged in, and making weird noises because it was submerged in water. My barely awake brain went, must unplug that, and I waded through the 4 feet of water to unplug it. I lived. Yay. People, stop pouring that hate on op and check that other accounts' comment history. It's all there. It's semi-automated to give awards to random AskReddit posts as a form of advertising. Answer OP's question or skip it. But don't bash them for something they didn't do. When I was 10, I was on vacation and wanted to show off and run into a window and then slide down, like those characters in cartoons do. I hit the window and it broke, so I walked to the back of the building. I broke the window of an eye. Told the people I was running and didn't see the window. I wonder if they bought that. Volunteering to lead a work trip abroad. It was like herding cats. Some beggar in the subway asked me for €5 to buy some cigarettes, to which I replied, no, thanks. I was opening a can of food for my cat, and some of the gravy got on my finger. My brain went on autopilot and I licked my finger clean. I regretted it immediately. Was washing my hands and randomly spaced out as I was pumping the foam-type soap into the Monsieur. Snapped back to it and there was a huge mound of citrus-scented soap in my hands. Monkey brain told me to clap. I did.